Hey everybody, we are going to learn all of the major triads on all of the string sets. Sounds daunting, but you'll learn them pretty quickly just by repetition. When you look at a guitar, okay, there's 6 strings. If you break them up into groups of 3, you have actually 4 groups where the strings are together. So you have the 6, the 5, the 4, that's a group. Then you drop down one, and the 5, 4, and 3, that's a group. The 4, 3, and 2, that's a group. And the 3, 2, and 1 is a group. So there's 4 groups of strings that we're going to learn. The key here is repetition, just like anything. I'm going to show you these shapes. I'll explain what's actually going on. And you're going to find that, some of the shapes, especially on the first string set, beginning with the 6th, and the second string set beginning with the 5th, they're the same shape. They're different chords, if you're playing them on that same fret, and I'll show you how to identify that pretty quickly. Without getting into too much musical theory, when you look at a major scale, so a major chord is built on 3 notes, okay? So the major scale is going to sound like the Do Re Mi song. Okay, and those notes, I actually played 8 notes because the first note and the last note were the same note, just an octave higher. But we're gonna number all of these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the 1, the 3, and the 5. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. They are the 3 notes of the major scale. Now, we happen to start it on G, but if we started it on A, to make an A chord, it would be the 1, the 3, and the 5. The 1, 3, and the 5. They're the 3 notes. Okay, so that's your musical theory. You can get into it more and learn your scales, but I'm more interested in showing you these triad shapes. So let's get the camera down a little and get a good view. So we mentioned that there's 4 string sets, and we're going to start with this lowest group, 6th, 5th, and 4th string. Okay, the first position for the triad, and a triad, 3 notes, so we're just playing 3 notes. And with your right hand, you should kind of grab all 3 strings so you can sort of voice them. But in a root position, and this is the root position that we show, the root is on the lowest string. Without knowing what chord I'm playing when I play that root position, I can tell because it's wherever the root is. As a tip, you should know the notes on the E string and the A string. You should also understand what an octave is. So if that's an A note, the octave is going to be 2 strings over and 2 frets up. Kind of like the 2 corners of a box here, So now I know, if I know the notes on the E string, I could probably figure out the notes on the D string as well. The more notes you know, it's going to help you identify these chords. But then repetition and sort of looking at it, you're going to kind of get the hang of, hey, oh, that's where a G chord is. That's where an A chord is. This root position, we have the root and the bass. The other thing to understand with all 3 of these inversions, no matter what string set we're playing on, the sequence of the strings, okay, from, the top, going down, is always going to be in this sequence. It's not always going to start with a root, but it's always going to be in this string of notes. Root, 3, 5. Root, 3, 5, root. So wherever there's a 5, the root is next. Wherever there's a 3, the 5 is next. Wherever there's a root, the 3 is next when you go down the strings from the fat ones to the skinny ones. Great thing to know. As long as we know where the root is, or if we know where the root is, then we know that the next string is going to be the 3rd. Okay? But if the root's on the skinniest string, then you got to kind of start over, so the 3rd's going to be on the fattest string of that 3 string set. Okay, root position. So, all right, so we know that's a root, all right? And if we know the notes on the E string, we know that's an A. So this triad, this major triad, is a chord. If we slide it up to, that's a B chord. If we slide it down, well, we're kind of out of room at the top of the neck here, but that's basically a G. All right, but that's an A. So these next two inversions are, everything's going to be an A chord. So they're going to sound similar, but we're just rearranging and playing a higher octave or a different octave of the 1, 3, and 5. Again, you'll hear it. You don't really have to absorb that. So root position, okay? Now, for the first inversion, we're going to be moving that root to the skinniest string. And the 3 is going to be in the bass. All right? So the 3 is going to be on this string. Well, I don't know where the 3 and the 5 is on the fretboard, but I do know I'm playing an A root note because this is an A chord. Where's another A? Because in the first inversion, the root is on the thinnest string. Okay? So that's an octave. And that's the skinniest string. So this must be where that next inversion goes. Okay? And this is the shape. Okay, so we have the root position and the first inversion. Okay? So we have the root now on the skinniest string because that's what we've done with the first inversion, because root means the root's in the bass, first inversion means the 3's in the bass, and then the second inversion is where the 5 is in the bass. So the second inversion, yeah, 5 is in the bass, but the root is going to be in the middle now because it was in the bass in the first position. It's on the skinniest string. It's kind of been pushed off that fat string and dropped down to the skinniest string. Now it's going to be in the middle. So we have to find that note, which is an A, but it's got to be on the middle string. So we know that that's an A string, right? But if we play it up here, the 12th fret, that's an A. So that's where that's where the A is when we play this second inversion, which is this shape. Okay? So now we have the 5 in the bass because this is the second inversion. The root's in the middle and the 3's on the skinny string. But it's still that same order. It's 5, root, 3, 5, root, 3, 5, root, 3, 5. That same sequence. Now, this is how you learn this stuff. This is how you get that muscle memory. You do that first shape, slide up to the next shape, slide up to the next shape. That second inversion is kind of like an E shape, when you play at the top of the neck, or an A minor. It's that little chair. So these are all A's. A couple things you want to do when you're doing this drill is you're developing that muscle memory to change from to that, where you're kind of just using your index finger as a bar and using your ring finger on that E string, and then you slide it up. I tend to use I don't use my index finger. I use these 3 strings here. So practice that. Okay, they're all A's. That being said, we know that if we slide it up, that's a B, okay? Likewise with this shape. This is an A. If we slide it up, that's a B. If we slide it down, it's a G. Slide it down 2 more, it's an F. Okay? So we're starting to identify these other chords on that first string set when we play these triads. Now the cool thing, we'll move on to the next string set. It'll go a little faster here because we're basically taking that six string set shape and we're just dropping everything down one. So now we're playing it like this. But get this hand on the fifth, the fourth, and third string. All right? And you're pretty much doing the same root position, first inversion, second inversion. Okay? But what chord is it? Well, in the root position, we know that the pinky is on the root is on the first, the fattest string. And what note is that? Well, when I tune my guitar, I tune that note to the open string, the next one, which is a D. And also, you should learn the notes of the A string, but that's a quick way. So that's the root, and that's a D. So now we're playing Ds, but those same three formations. Root position, first inversion, second inversion, okay? The root's in the bass, the three's in the bass, the root is now on the skinniest string, and now the root's in the middle, the five is in the bass. Practice that. All Ds. Okay, so pick a spot here. We know that that's a D. We slide it up two. That's an E. We slide it back two. That's a C. Okay, so again, you're adding more chords to your vocabulary just by knowing these triads. Let's move to the next string set. Now, I've done a video on this. This might be I think this is, for me anyway, this is sort of the most popular formation that or position that I use is, or the string set would be this group here, the fourth, the third, and the second. So again, let's kind of start back in this area because we know these inversions are going to sort of move up the neck. So let's play this. This is the root position on that string set. And same rule applies. The bass is the lowest note, and what note's that? I didn't memorize the strings on. I didn't memorize the notes on that string set or on that string, but I know by the octave rule that you go back here. 2 frets back, 2 strings over. I know that is a G note. So that's a G note. And this in that root position, that's a G. Okay? So that would be an A. That would be an F. But we're going to play G's. Okay? Root position. Let's find the G that's on the skinniest string. Okay, that's a G. So the second position, or the first inversion is. And here I use my finger as a bar rather than putting my index finger just the tip. It sounds the same. The thing is, it's convenient sometimes when you pull off that shape, because that's another triad there, but we'll get to that. That's the root position, G. So that's the first inversion. That's the second inversion. Okay, so we have a G note. Where's the G note up here? It's in the middle. Because that's a G string. 12th fret, it's a G. So that is second inversion. So we have a just practice that over and over. And then pretty quickly you'll realize that anytime you want to play a G here in the middle of the neck, you just go right here on that 5th fret. Okay. Oh, did you want to play an F or an E or a D? So that's a G and that's a G. Okay. Oh, do you want to play an F? Want to play an E? Want to play a D? Want to play a C? Want to play a B flat or an A? So you got them all here. So practice that shape. Okay? They're all G's. Let's move to the last string set, the 3, 2, and the 1. So with the 3, 2, and 1, we have the bass is going to be the root. The root is going to be in the bass for a root position. And what note is that? That is a C. So we are playing C's. Okay, next position, we got to find that C note on the high string, okay? There it is. First inversion. Root, root, first inversion. Okay. Okay, so we know where the E is, where the C root is here. Now let's find that C note in the middle string. Okay. All right, that is your second inversion. Looks like a D shape. So we'll do all three. Root, first inversion, second inversion. And just repeat that. And you get pretty comfortable with, now you know where the C's are. There's a C there, C there, C there. And if you want to make it a D, you just slide everything up one, or up two. Back to a C. But learn those shapes. It's killer to learn all these. So let's review real quick. First position. We know this is an A. Okay. Next string set. We know this is a D. Next string set, we know this is a G. And the last string set. Root position, and this is it's a C. So there are all the shapes, major chords made up of the 1, the 3, and the 5. Practice them, figure out certain positions where you know the name of the chord, and you're able to kind of go from there. So if you know that that's a G, you know you can drop 2 frets back, that's an F. Or move up 2 frets, and that G is now an A. Learn those shapes, identify a few chords, and sort of grow your chord vocabulary from there. I wish you luck. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And you'll learn it. Thanks.